Doors are locked here, and there's a sign on the building right now that says it's closed for how long?
Recent revelations regarding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tenure in office paint a deeply troubling picture of a leader driven by self-interest, financial mismanagement, and blatant abuse of taxpayer funds. Despite her credit card privileges being revoked due to previous financial improprieties, Henyard orchestrated an extravagant $555,000 party for the town of Dalton. This event, which has since drawn widespread condemnation from residents and officials alike, was criticized as a self-promotion scheme funded by public money rather than a genuine community celebration. The event featured high-profile performers, including Jay Holiday, who received $20,000 for his performance, and Whale, who was paid an astounding $300,000 for a mere 30-minute set. The expenses didn't stop there. Henyard spent an additional $36,000 on a state-of-the-art sound system, hired comedians for entertainment, and rented bouncy houses at a cost of $6,600, all in an attempt to create an event that, in the end, only attracted around 70 attendees as wasteful spending has sparked outrage within the community, with many Dalton residents questioning how such blatant misuse of taxpayer funds could be allowed to continue under Henyard's leadership. Critics like Jennifer Roberts have condemned the event as an example of financial recklessness, while former trustee Vala Stubbs went so far as to label it a wasteful self-promotion scheme that failed to benefit the struggling town amid mounting public criticism and growing frustration. Federal investigators have ramped up their scrutiny of Henyard's financial dealings, eager to uncover the full extent of her alleged corruption. The most damning development came when Carmen Carlisle, Henyard's former ally and longtime right-hand woman, stepped forward as a whistleblower. Carlisle provided investigators with an extensive collection of evidence that paints an even darker picture of Henyard's tenure for 2 years. Carlisle had an insider's perspective on Henyard's alleged misuse of Dalton's funds, watching as the mayor seemingly treated the town's budget as her personal piggy bank. Growing increasingly disturbed by the scale of financial misconduct occurring behind the scenes, Carlisle decided to break her silence and cooperate with federal authorities. She handed over a trove of receipts, financial statements, and internal documents that reportedly exposed the inner workings of Henyard's financial mismanagement, according to Carlisle's testimony. Henyard not only misappropriated funds for her personal luxuries, but also used her position to bolster her public image, funneling taxpayer dollars into events and projects that served no real purpose other than to enhance her reputation. The lavish $555,000 party, despite her credit card privileges being revoked, serves as a stark illustration of her alleged disregard for financial responsibility. The fact that Henyard moved forward with such an expensive and unnecessary event at a time when Dalton was grappling with severe financial difficulties has only deepened public disillusionment. Dalton residents, already struggling with crumbling infrastructure, underfunded public services, and a rapidly deteriorating local economy, are left to wonder how their mayor could justify such extravagance while their community suffers. Former trustee Stubbs' description of the event as a self-promotion scheme encapsulates the sentiment shared by many Dalton residents, who now feel deceived by Henyard's mismanagement of public funds rather than serving as a genuine community gathering. The event has come to symbolize the dark contrast between Henyard's priorities and the needs of the people she was elected to serve. While essential services remained underfunded and the town's financial outlook continued to worsen, Henyard seemed more focused on maintaining an image of grandeur, spending freely on elaborate performances, luxury entertainment, and frivolous amenities. As federal investigators continue to delve into Henyard's financial dealings, Carlisle's testimony has emerged as a pivotal development in the case against her. Carlisle's account not only sheds light on the scale of Henyard's financial mismanagement, but also underscores the mayor's apparent willingness to prioritize personal gain over public welfare. According to Carlisle, Henyard displayed a pattern of extravagant spending, frequently diverting taxpayer funds toward personal luxuries, unnecessary travel, and high-profile events designed to elevate her public persona. Henyard's tenure, once seen as an opportunity for Dalton's revitalization, has instead been marred by allegations of corruption, wasteful spending, and a blatant disregard for the financial well-being of the town. As more details of her alleged misconduct come to light, the level of public trust in her administration has plummeted to an all-time low. Residents and former allies alike are now demanding justice, with many hoping that the investigation will lead to real consequences for the mayor's financial misdeeds. The contrast between Henyard's extravagant lifestyle and the financial hardships facing Dalton's residents has become too glaring to ignore. While the community grapples with economic instability, deteriorating public infrastructure, and underfunded local services, Henyard's actions appear to have only exacerbated the town's struggles. The ongoing investigation serves as a stark reminder of the importance of transparency and accountability in public office. And as federal authorities continue to uncover more evidence of Henyard's alleged corruption, the future of her political career and potential legal consequences remain uncertain for the people of Dalton. The hope is that justice will prevail and that the town can begin the long process of recovery from the financial damage inflicted during Henyard's tenure. Tiffany Henyard's actions have exposed a deep pattern of financial mismanagement, made all the more egregious by the already precarious economic situation in Dalton. Her apparent self-promotion and disregard for the town's financial well-being have made it increasingly difficult for the community to trust their leadership. Many believe that her ongoing defiance will only worsen the scandal, especially as more details about her financial wrongdoing continue to surface. The FBI's investigation, now bolstered by the testimony of her former ally Carmen Carlisle, has placed Henyard squarely in the public eye. Federal agents are intensifying their efforts to uncover the full extent of her alleged misconduct. And for Dalton residents, the hope is that the truth will come to light and accountability will be achieved. Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dalton, Illinois, has evolved into a cautionary tale of unchecked power, corruption, and personal greed, leaving the once thriving town grappling with the devastating aftermath of her actions. From the outset, Henyard presented herself as a strong, dynamic leader, a larger-than-life figure capable of transforming Dalton into a prosperous community. However, as her time in office wore on, it became increasingly clear that her leadership was marked by reckless financial mismanagement, self-serving extravagance, and a disregard for the public trust. The ultimate consequence of her actions has been the near collapse of Dalton, a town now mired in nearly $20 million of debt and left to pick up the pieces of its fractured finances and damaged community trust. At the heart of Henyard's fall from grace is a troubling pattern of misappropriation of public funds, which includes extravagant travel, excessive security details, questionable business dealings, and dubious charitable ventures. These revelations have fueled a federal investigation into her financial dealings, signaling that her alleged corruption will no longer go unexamined. For the residents of Dalton, these developments mark a significant turning point in their struggle to recover from the fallout of Henyard's leadership. Henyard's misuse of taxpayer funds has extended far beyond the well-documented $555,000 party she orchestrated for the town, which featured lavish entertainment, such as performances by Jay Holiday and Whale, costing the town hundreds of thousands of dollars. While this one event became a flashpoint for public outrage, it was far from an isolated incident. Henyard's spending habits were marked by wasteful indulgence, often at the expense of Dalton's financial health. Federal authorities have also uncovered troubling details about her extravagant personal purchases, including a staggering $440,000 spent on Amazon in a single day, as well as ongoing misuse of town resources to maintain her self-image. But it wasn't just Henyard's blatant disregard for fiscal responsibility that has caused lasting damage to Dalton. Her leadership also created a toxic political environment. As Henyard's financial mismanagement deepened, the Illinois state controller had to step in and halt essential payments to Dalton in an attempt to stop the financial hemorrhaging. Despite the growing crisis, Henyard maintained her confidence and continued to act as if nothing had changed, disregarding the community's suffering and the urgent calls for transparency and accountability. Activists like Brittany Norwood, who had long called for an investigation into Henyard's actions, likened the mayor's behavior to that of a reality TV star, projecting a glamorous public persona while allowing the town's financial reality to collapse beneath her. In the face of mounting public outrage, Henyard persisted in her refusal to acknowledge the seriousness of the situation, further alienating the community she was supposed to serve. Her refusal to accept responsibility for her actions only intensified the pressure on her and exacerbated the growing frustration among residents who felt betrayed by the woman they had trusted to guide the town. Despite the overwhelming evidence of financial mismanagement and growing public demands for accountability, Henyard refused to resign. Her defiance persisted even as the FBI ramped up its investigation into her activities. The involvement of federal authorities signaled a turning point in the case, and it was clear that Henyard's position as mayor was no longer tenable. Federal investigators employed advanced surveillance techniques to track her financial dealings, adding a layer of scrutiny that would ultimately lead to her downfall. It wasn't until Henyard voluntarily surrendered to federal authorities that the community was forced to confront the full scope of her actions. The moment sent shockwaves through Dalton, as residents who had watched their town teeter on the brink of collapse now witnessed their once glamorous mayor face the consequences of her wrongdoing. Henyard's surrender to the FBI raised speculation about her motives. Some believe she might be attempting to negotiate a deal with prosecutors in exchange for information on other individuals allegedly involved in her schemes. Regardless of her reasoning, Henyard's public image, carefully cultivated over the years, had been irreparably damaged. Sources close to Henyard's legal team revealed that she was unable to pay for her defense, leading to her attorney dropping her case. The mayor, who once exuded an air of confidence and control, now faced the harsh reality of legal fees she could not afford and a potential prison sentence looming over her. Her once immaculate public image, the persona of a self-assured leader, had crumbled under the weight of her own financial recklessness. As federal investigators continued to dig deeper into Henyard's financial dealings, more troubling revelations emerged. It became clear that her corruption was not confined to financial mismanagement alone. Allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse of power surfaced, with former employees accusing her of intimidation and wrongful termination for refusing to participate in unethical schemes. These allegations further tarnished Henyard's already shattered reputation and added another layer of scandal to an administration defined by abuse of power and self-serving behavior. One of the most disturbing aspects of Henyard's time in office was her involvement in questionable business ventures and her questionable use of the town's charitable initiatives. The investigation revealed that Henyard's charitable projects, which were supposed to benefit the community, appear to serve more as vehicles for building her public image than as genuine efforts to help those in need. As federal authorities delved further into these ventures, they uncovered a network of exploitation and financial misconduct that extended far beyond local government, further solidifying a view that Henyard had used her position for personal gain. In the wake of these discoveries, former employees began to share their experiences of mistreatment, which included claims of being silenced for opposing Henyard's schemes. These revelations confirmed that Henyard's reign was marked not only by financial corruption, but also by a culture of fear and intimidation. This toxic environment, fostered by Henyard's leadership, created a climate in which accountability was actively avoided and dissent was crushed for Dalton's residents. This scandal has been a bitter reminder of the dangers of unchecked power and the corrosive effects of personal greed. The town that once admired Henyard now finds itself grappling with the aftermath of her actions, unsure of how to rebuild or how long it will take to recover from the damage she caused. The financial situation in Dalton remains dire, with crumbling infrastructure, underfunded public services, and an ever-deepening debt crisis. The people of Dalton are left to pick up the pieces of their community while struggling to comprehend how their trusted leader could have betrayed them so thoroughly. The fallout from Henyard's reign of excess will be felt for years to come. The town's financial situation remains unstable, and the emotional toll on residents is deep. The destruction of public trust in local government has left a permanent scar on the community, and rebuilding that trust will be a long and difficult process. Despite the overwhelming challenges, there remains a glimmer of hope for Dalton. Activists, former employees, and concerned residents are rallying together, advocating for transparency and accountability as they work to repair the damage caused by Henyard's actions. This collective effort, driven by a desire for justice, offers the people of Dalton a chance to rebuild not only their finances, but also their faith in the democratic process and the ethical governance. They deserve. The lessons learned from Henyard's time in office will hopefully serve as a foundation for a more ethical and effective local government in the future. The path to recovery will be fraught with difficulties, but Dalton's residents are determined to rebuild a stronger, more resilient community. They are committed to ensuring that the mistakes of the past are never repeated, and that future leaders are held accountable for their actions. Henyard's downfall serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers posed by unchecked power and the disastrous consequences of individual greed and misconduct. Her story is one of how the actions of a single individual can ripple through an entire community, leaving lasting scars that take years to heal. The scandal surrounding her leadership not only left Dalton financially ruined, but also fractured the community's sense of trust and unity, making the process of recovery all the more difficult. However, with time and through collective efforts focused on transparency and accountability, Dalton may begin to rebuild. The scars of this tragic chapter in the town's history may one day fade, but the lessons learned from Henyard's reign will hopefully shape a better future for generations to come. The road to recovery will be long, but the people of Dalton remain determined to restore their community and to ensure that the mistakes of the past are never repeated.